Broadcasting from Salisbury University campus, this is WSDL Ocean City, NPR News Talk 90.7, putting Delmarva first. Stay tuned for Delmarva Today with your host, Don Rush.
This weekend, the nation will mark Veterans Day, but as we take pause to remember those who served, we also take a look at the cost of the conflicts that cannot be forgotten. Welcome to Delmarva Today. This is Don Rush. Many will celebrate Veterans Day with barbecues and memorials to those who have served. A couple of years ago, the Department of Veterans Affairs estimated there were around 20 million vets, representing less than 10% of the population. The percentage of vets in the U.S. Senate and House in 2017 was only around 20%. Meanwhile, the conflict in Afghanistan now stands as America's longest war, with many vets doing a number of tours that included Iraq. This morning, we want to take a look and remember those who have fallen as well as those who have returned with wounds that sometimes never seem quite to heal. In our studios this morning is Chris Hardy. He's founder of U.S. Kennels, and that provides a training for dogs to help vets cope with the after effects of their tours of duty. And welcome to the program. What goes through your mind at this point when we're all going to be celebrating Veterans Day? A lot of people are going to have barbecues and celebrating and so on, but there will also be certainly services as well. What goes through your mind at this point, particularly remembering some of the folks that you served with?
This holiday brings a lot of memories back to us, and also for Veterans Day, camaraderie is really good because a lot of times they'll have like reunions. Like for example, I was with the 82nd. They had a division review. A lot of old timers go back, go down, catch up on times. So some of it is good, but a lot of it, it's a little trying for us. It brings back old memories. We think about people, friends, some of our brothers and sisters that passed away in war, or just passed away in general. And I know a big thing is on the bad side of it. It brings back too many memories that a lot of us can't handle, and so they end up doing. You've heard 22 a day,
right,
as far
suicide.
as veterans committing suicide. So you get some of that around this time of year. I do believe in 2018 there was like a new survey that was done. It was 22 a day. Now it's up since I think 2018. It's 28 a day, so it's risen that much in several years. So I just got to remember that as well. But yeah, and overall, it just brings a lot of memories back. A lot of things we go through, good and bad. Like I said, we meet with old people or some of our old people as well.
So, what memory comes back the most for you?
I just try to think of where everybody's at. Are they still living? Last I heard from such and such was in Texas 10 years ago, or so. We kind of wonder about where our brothers and sisters are. And yes, it does bring back some bad memories as well. Matter of fact, last night I had two dreams or two nightmares, or I forget what they call it now, night
Sure.
scare, but nightmares for me. So it was a long night, but we cope with it, or we try to.
May I ask what they were about?
One was in Iraq and one was in Afghanistan. So
Yeah.
two separate occasions that came up, and it's hard sometimes. Not a lot we can do about it.
Right, no, I understand. So when people come up and they certainly thank you for your service and so on, and that certainly has got to be great.
Well, now from a veteran's point of view, thank you all so much for doing that. That means a lot. That means that you're thinking about us. But on the other half, it's kind of weird for us because, we're just doing our jobs. We're doing our duty. And, that's what we were there for, and that's what we did. So some of us feel that we really don't deserve that, or that not that we don't deserve it, but it's not necessary. But I know a lot of the veterans, we do like it. And, every time we hear that, it's pretty uplifting for us.
So why did you, by the way, decide to go into the military?
I was born military. My dad, he did 20 years. So I was born in Fort Wainwright in Alaska, traveled around. And so when my dad got out, he retired here. His family was here. As soon as I got out of high school, right on in I went. Carrying on the family tradition, I guess.
Hey, when was that? When was it?
I joined in 1989
Oh, okay.
and got out in 2000. So I
Okay.
did 11 years altogether.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people ask me, well, why didn't you stay the whole time? 11 years, all you got to do is 18 to 20. But I just got tired of getting shot at. So, I got out. I wanted to live a little bit.
Right. So now your job in particular, and it connects with what you're doing now, is you utilize dogs in order to find bodies. Tell me a little bit about that experience and what that was about.
Well, how I got into it, I've been training dog for 20 years. I've done everything from the military on down to local, state, feds, you name it, been all around. But when I was in Afghanistan in 2005, there was this little girl. She's about 2.5 years old. Well, she was hit by an IED, and she was probably burnt over like 80% of her body. Long story short, I was going into the field hospital to pick up supplies, and I had one of our dogs with us, our recovery dog. His name was Dirk. And we walked by her, and she started reaching for Dirk, laughing, trying to talk, and so the nurse gets up, runs out. I'm like, oh my God, I did something wrong. I'm like, we're not supposed to touch, But they came back in with a couple of doctors, and long story short, this little girl hasn't said, cried, made any peep or word or anything for like 3 months. So we're just bringing Dirk in, or that dog, bringing the dog in, changes people like you wouldn't believe. So that was my first time really seeing what a dog can do for a person, in a good term.
Right.
So that's what kind of led me into doing service dogs for disabled veterans.
What kind of relationship do you think there is between the veteran and the dog?
Hopefully my wife's not listening, but sometimes we love them more than anything.
Right.
But no, I mean, it's just a bond that, it's kind of indescribable, because no matter how good I am, if I mess up, if I'm having a bad day, whatever the case may be, that dog is always there loving me unconditionally. Even if I yell at it, start da 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 da, that dog's going to turn right back around and come up and cuddle me. These dogs, they replace a lot of medicine, and they save lives. From what I've seen, I've had we have about 34 to 36 people in our program right now. We had 6 of them that are recently new. Three of them came to me and said, Chris, this dog saved my life. I had a veteran call me up the other day. He says, Chris, 2 days ago I was sitting with the gun in my hand getting ready to do the worst thing. I brought the puppy home that day. He goes, Chris, this is as happy as I've ever been. So that's my reward. That is my reward. And that's why I do it, because I know what these dogs can do for people, especially my brothers, and sisters, veterans.
How would you describe your relationship with your own dog?
Well, I actually just started with a new service dog, my old one, Kaiser, I think you met last time.
That's right. Yes, I did.
He's getting a little older, plus, he has 3 legs, so it's harder for him to get around. So he's just living a good life now. So I started with Brody. He's a Newfoundland. He's a little over, he's almost 100 pounds. He's 10 months old. So he's going to be a big boy. So right now, we love each other to death, but we are a good pair because we are both big klutzes. We'll run into stuff, run into each other, step on each other. We're there. No, but no, I love it. Just nothing like it. It really is nothing like a dog.
So when you're out, what kind of I'll say function, but that's a bit antiseptic. Does he serve for you when you're out?
Brody, we're working on him right now. He does what's called a cover command. It's almost like you've heard of the thunder jackets for the dogs.
Mm-hmm.
You put on it kind of wraps real tight. These dogs are our thunder blankets, and of course with Brody, he's like a sleeping bag blanket. But no, I mean he performs a cover command for me. That helps me with my PTSD, anxiety, depression. Also nightmares, and we're still training on that right now. But for nightmares, when I start tossing and turning, moaning and groaning, he's to the part to where he's going to start licking, kissing, pawing at us. So I try not to do pawing because paw going across your face, it might hurt a little bit.
Right.
But what he'll do is he'll wake me up out of that before it gets too bad. He'll go on, turn on the light, and come back and do more or less like compression therapy again to make sure I'm awake and getting me up. So those are the two things I'm asking for right now. But there's some other things like Watcher 6. He's pretty good at that. Like sometimes if you sit beside me, he might be facing the opposite way. That's because I might feel a little antsy, or there might be a lot of people behind me, and he realizes that. So he's just kind of giving me a little alert that, hey, there's people behind you, which is easy for me. So, simple tasks like that. Well, I won't say simple, but tasks like that is what we train on. And every veteran has their own disability. So everyone's not the same. So I might have one person who needs seizure, nightmares, and PTSD. Or I might have an amputee that might need soft mouth retrieval. So every veteran has their own different needs. So that's what we try to go for. By law, they only have to have one task. The service dog has to perform one task. With U.S. Kennels, we make it 2 tasks. Okay, so we usually try to hit the top 2 that really disturbs the veteran or what they really need. So it's a long drawn out process. It's about 10 months to a year by the time everything's done and over with. But so far we've been rocking and rolling. We get all of our dogs from shelters, so we're rescuing a bunch of local dogs along with a bunch of local veterans.
So and what kind of relations do you have with the veterans affairs folks?
They don't do too much for us. I mean, they don't sponsor funds or anything like that.
Right. I know that, for instance, you can't. I mean, it's not part of their
right
bailiwick in terms of providing service. I think was
what
I read.
They're still researching that for as like if a veteran's like an amputee or bound to a wheelchair,
right?
They will pay for a service animal, the food, the vet bills, everything, because it's considered an extension of their body. Now with PTSD and a lot of the mental side of this, the VA and the government's still doing studies on it. As a matter of fact, they're still doing a study. They picked a couple training centers to do this. So they're hopefully within the next couple of years, we will have it for PTSD dogs or mental health dogs as well, as far as the VA helping and supplying. But the VA, we get all of our, or I'd probably say 95% of the veterans are referred from the VA. And that's one of our qualifications for our program. You got to be a disabled veteran, service related, and a letter from the VA. Basically, a letter from the VA. Why I like the letter from the VA is because I know they're under treatment. They've been evaluated already, and they've been evaluated to see if they are physically and capable and mentally capable of taking care of their own dog. Or if not, you have a spouse or loved one that will help you with it. So, but yeah, we're playing keep up.
So, as a matter of fact, and how is your relationship with veterans? I mean, is there a growing sense about this kind of service amongst veterans? Do you think here in the area? What's your sense about?
Well, with veterans, especially in this area, because there's really not too many things out here that veterans are aware of. The VA is not going to tell you about programs, this, that, and the other. So, with our veterans in our program, it's also nice because we can use this as far as bonding, of course. Veterans, we feel more comfortable amongst ourselves, and we can relate. And plus, a lot of us have the same disabilities. And also, what I really like about it is they're forming. I hate to say group because it's not group therapy. It's nothing like that. But we form a new group of friends that we can pretty much trust right at the get-go. A lot of the veterans that have graduated, we still offer them. They can come back, and we do have quite a few that come back, hang out, or just do touch-up lessons. But also, it's a good network group as far as finding out what other programs are out there, what other services are out there, and also just camaraderie. We got some guys and girls that they kind of call each other. They get a little group together and they go out on their own, which makes me feel good. So I'm doing my job. They're doing awesome. So, but yeah, I mean, there's no group like it. We definitely feel comfortable.
Is there a certain isolation as a veteran, when you come back, I mean, obviously there's not a lot of, I mean, I guess you can go to the VA and so on, but is there a lot of support, or does a vet have to find it?
I sit there. There was a study done, and I'm sorry I don't know who it is or who did it, but they were talking about all of our veterans coming back from overseas, um, and just a mess. And then they look at like Iraq, Afghanistan, ISIS, or the other side. That none of these guys really doesn't seem to have problems with it. And what they found out is that they're like, for example, Afghanistan. A lot of it's tribal, so. But when these people come back from fighting or doing whatever, they're accepted back into their tribe. Everybody in that tribe helps them, no matter what. If it's food, medical, whatever. With Americans, and not to sound bad or anything, but when we come back into society, that's it. We're back. There's no programs, there's no guidance. When I came back from Afghanistan, it's just like, okay, you're home, go home. And then at home, there's really, yes, I got my family, friends that are support groups, but nothing like they have over there. So it's tough coming back. And plus, you figure, we, like you said, Afghanistan is one of the longest wars we've been in. So there's been a heck of a lot more people deployed, if it's Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, or wherever the case may be, in these environments, and they come back and there's really not a lot of support, or I won't say support, but guidance. So it's tough. It really is. It really is tough coming back.
So, is there a success story that comes to mind with the dogs that you train, and the people obviously that you've been involved? Somebody that really did stellar, that perhaps was not in great shape when they got here?
I hate to say it, but that's probably 95% of the veterans that come into the program. If they're, and I hate to say it, but if they're coming to our program, they're not doing good.
Yeah.
Not doing good. And by the time they leave the program, we're not doctors or social workers or anything like that, but they are a heck of a lot happier. Like I say, I told you earlier about, veterans committing suicide. These dogs are saving. That's my reward. We got one staff member that's paid, and she's a part-time dog trainer. Everybody else volunteers. I don't get paid. My other dog trainer don't get paid. My IT guy don't get paid. So, we kind of, and believe it or not, they're all veterans too.
Right. I'm not surprised.
So, but no, rewarding is just seeing them when they first get the dog, and then when they leave the program. So, that's my reward.
Do they keep in touch?
I would probably say the majority of them do. Just because they graduate a program, it's just not like, okay, you're training, you graduated, you're done. No, it's you're training, you graduated, you can still come and hang out, you can still come and do touch-up lessons. Like I said, we're at the Holly Center. We got a nice gazebo, nice walking trails, so it's real peaceful there. And we get a lot of veterans that just come back for camaraderie. So, seeing that, keeping them in the loop and everything. And plus, if I don't hear from you in a while, I'm going to check up on you. So I checked up on one of our veterans the other day. We haven't heard from her in a while, but Mimi, I love you. But we still call and check up, even if you graduated or not. It's kind of our thing.
Do you find, by the way, from your experience, is there a difference between the kinds of issues that, for instance, male vets experience as opposed to women vets? I don't know if you've ever thought about it, but
yes and no. I mean, a lot of people think of service dogs or veterans. They've seen combat or been in combat. We've had I hear of like females being raped in the military. Right. Unfortunately, it's sad, but it happens. And then we've had some. We had a gentleman. He's African American. He was on an aircraft carrier. He got jumped because he was African American. So there's so many things out there. We had a veteran. He loaded bombs and ordnances on airplanes. Well, they got like I can't remember what it's called, but like a little ejection piece of metal.
Right.
Well, this thing fired off by his head. For PTSD, it takes one incident, no matter what it is. It takes one traumatic incident to mess you up for life. And so, you figure these veterans had several or quite a few or every single day for a while of incidents like this. So as far as male and female, they all go through the same thing.
I know, like for instance, women tend to have to be caregivers, for example, as opposed to men, which tend not necessarily be the case. I guess that's what's one of the big differences.
I've fought.
Are you a caregiver? I don't know.
Nah, unfortunately, I should have been, but
No.
I fought with some women, especially from other militaries.
Mm-hmm.
We fought with. We've seen some Kurdish women fight. I'd rather fight with them than more I would half the people I served with. But you figure they've been doing it for life. But
Sure.
I really nowadays it doesn't matter, if it's male or female, what color. And that's what I love about being in the military. Okay, I was Army, so we call it, there's only one color, Army green. It's a brotherhood and sisterhood, nothing like it. I don't care what color, race, this, that, or the other. It's all good.
So how do you assess how people react to vets these days? I mean, obviously we're going to be going out and we're going to have all these services and so on and so forth, and
a lot of it is lack of education. It really is. It's the lack of education. I use service dogs, for example. A lot of people don't know the rules, the regs of the ADA rules and regs. Local, state, and county, it goes down to. For example, a lot of people talk about access. In other words, where can a dog go? A lot of people don't realize a church can kick you out, and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's just because they don't fall under the government ordinance or laws or regulations.
Right. Yeah.
So they can literally kick us out. A dog going into a controlled environment. If they're going into, I'm trying to think of a good example here. Going into a police station, for example, they don't have to let the dog in because it's not open to the public. So just, one of my main jobs is educating the public on this, especially here on the shore. And what's making it really bad for the people who need these service animals or dogs is that you got all these fake service animals out there, all these registrations. I could go online right now, spend $75 to get a nice big certificate saying my dog's certified, 2 ID cards, a vest, the whole get up, and says he's a service dog, no training whatsoever. So there's all these fake service animals out there that are really hurting us, as far as real service animals and real people that need these animals. Excuse me. So yeah, it's just a lot of it's educating, and plus, us having a training center here on the shore, you hardly ever seen a service animal. Well, even back in the day, a long time or years ago, it was rare that you saw a service animal. Well, now that people figured the loophole because there's no standard or guidelines, everybody wants to take their pets everywhere. Like that one, they had one instance where they had a dog on the airplane, tore this other person up. Okay, you're thousands and thousands,
right,
a couple miles up in the air or whatever. So, but yeah, it's a lot about educating. And and we're keeping up too, because these are constantly changing, like the ADA laws, the rules, the regs. I know they passed it now that they got a heck of a lot higher fines and even jail time for fake animals or fake service animals. So it's all about educating, and we try to do a lot of that here as well.
By the way, one of the things I've particularly reading this book about some of the vets and pets was this idea that if a dog wears a vest, right, for going around, what they observed was that when the vest was off, they acted like a regular dog. When the vest came on, it was like all business. Is that your experience?
A lot of times with working dogs, yes, and
Yeah.
it comes down to service animals too.
Sure.
And it's kind of nice to have too, because it's like an on and off switch. Now, technically, they're working for us 24/7. Okay, that's a gimme. That's what service animals for. They're working for you 24/7. But there's a time, because remember, we gotta let them relax, have playtime, enjoy themselves, have a good life. So with the vest on, a lot of times 90% it's work time. When it comes off, well, we're still working, but it's more of a casual. Okay, I can run and play and act like Brody, my dog. But yeah, it's a nice on and off switch. It really is.
So what are you going to be doing this holiday?
Actually, I'm doing a lot of speaking.
Oh, well, that's good. That's good.
But no, we got a couple.
Yeah.
Like my daughter's school invited me to talk to for Veterans Day, to talk to the school and everything about, I guess, what a veteran is, so forth. I always check on my people. I give everybody in our program a call, even those that graduated, just to see how they're doing. And other than that, hopefully spend time with my family, which never happens, but no, it's good. I love my wife, and they're very understanding, and they actually help out a lot.
So how is your wife? I mean, because I met her and she
Right.
at the beginning. So I mean, it was sort of like I got this sense like, well, okay, we're going to try this.
Yeah, it was new area for both of us. I don't know why I started a nonprofit, because that is a lot of work. Well, that's for a good cause, so we did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we both found are finding out and still finding out, or found out and still finding out that it's still a lot of work, a lot of paperwork, the do's, the don'ts, and what you can do, and then with the veterans, we're hard to deal with ourselves. I can say that because I'm one of them. Plus, that's my wife. So yeah, it's just really keeping busy, helping other veterans out, make sure everyone else, especially in our program, is doing really good. I don't do much cooking out. I just don't have time.
Well, that's all right.
But no, that's usually what we do every Veterans Day.
So what would you say to people who are celebrating Veterans Day? They're going to be out and about. What kind of message do you think you would have for them?
I would say be kind. Be easy on them, because a lot of us, we do have quite a few disabilities. Some good, a lot bad. But just be thankful for them. Like you said, we said earlier, people coming up thanking us, that's awesome. But just give time, spend some time with a veteran. You want to find out about a veteran, the best thing to say is find time with them, or spend time with them. That's it. Give me your thoughts, your love, your thanks, because we gave everything.
Yeah.
So, and we know that. So, but yeah, and everybody's really doing a good job. I must say, thank everybody out there. I really do.
Well, we've been speaking with Chris Hardy. He is founder of U.S. Kennels that provides training for dogs to help veterans cope with the after effects of the tours of duty. And as I probably mentioned, most people know, not just one tour, but a number of tours. How many tours did you do overseas?
Oh, Lord. Started off with Panama. Then we did Desert Shield, Desert Storm. Then we did a couple of things in South America. Our unit deployed Somalia. Then, of course, Iraq, Afghanistan. So, been around the world and back a couple times.
Right.
I want to throw one thing out there.
Go ahead.
For you National Guard and Reserve guys, thank you so much for everything. You're not forgotten as well. A lot of people forget about the National Guard and Reserve. They deploy a lot more than we do nowadays. And they do like year time. They go over for a year to 18 months, come back for a little bit, then they're shipped back over again. I got friends that have been in the Reserve and Guard, and they've deployed like 15, 20 times. It's a lot. So don't forget about them as well.
Takes a toll.
Oh, totally. Definitely. Anybody being deployed, more than once or even once is too much in my book.
Right. Well, I appreciate you stopping by at Shannon.
Oh, anytime. It's nice. Nice talking to you. Nice seeing you guys again.
This has been Delmarva Today. I'm Don Rush. Thanks for listening.